Hey everybody, Tim Parker and
Rick Ricard.
here with you live again this week. We appreciate everyone jumping in last week that were able to jump in for the live and all the views that we had afterwards. I think we had somewhere around 1,500 views on the video, which was pretty amazing. Just wanted to spend some time again going over Israel again, just give you an update on what's happening tour-wise. We've had quite a few people have reached out since we did our last video, making inquiries about traveling. We've gotten a lot of people have shown interest in wanting to head to Israel.
Hundreds and hundreds of emails and quite a few text messages as well. So it's been very exciting, more than I would have ever anticipated.
Yeah, it's been great. So really great to hear from you guys. Great for the response and just the heartfelt responses to the plight of everyone that's over there right now. The responses for prayer, that there's prayer for everyone over there that's happening. Also, just how can you help? You know, we've had quite a few people have asked how they can help. How can they donate to that? If you would like to find out some more about that, we could certainly find out.
We have some links that we can share with you.
Absolutely.
And I think probably what stood out the most from what I heard from people was just the fact of, we didn't maybe even realize it when we said it, but part of the healing process itself was for tourism to return. And that was, I think, probably the biggest part of something that we didn't expect to hear in that regard. So that was pretty amazing in sense of doing that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we say things, we don't quite realize it, and then the impact is even bigger than we would have even realized. So
yeah, I think whenever you and I left and went to Israel, that was probably not something we were expecting to hear from them. We were, of course, expecting to hear the hurt and just the sadness that was involved with what had happened, but the expectation from the people over there for really not just tourism to come back, but American tourism to make it back over.
And I think that's one of the biggest impacts as well, is when those that are traveling from North America return, it kind of sends a signal to the rest of the world as well that it's safe to do so. And again, as I mentioned last time we streamed, not to make light of the situation in parallel to what's actually happening in Gaza. There is life that still continues in Israel itself. And I think that's the part that we really want to come across of, you know, there is life every day. The kids are still in school. The shops are busy. The restaurants are full. The movie theaters, you go to the promenade area there in Tel Aviv, and the people are walking and jogging and you name it. People are out on the beach playing volleyball. People are out surfing and body surfing and doing things. Life is actually going about normal. It's just a new normal. It's not what we knew as before.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how resilient they are over there.
Yeah.
Just as we were our last night having dinner before we jumped on the flight, the waiter had been serving in Gaza.
Yep.
And had just gotten home and was beginning to wait tables again.
Yeah, 2 weeks, the difference of 2 weeks, and literally it just served in Gaza and the IDF and so forth. And not to get political or anything, but please hear our heart. Our heart breaks for the people in Gaza. We're praying for peace. We're praying for them to have the goods that they need, whether it's water, food, medicines, everything that they need. They're caught in the crosshairs between Hamas themselves and the IDF. So please continue to pray for them. That's vital. So please do so, and really pray that not only the hostages are returned, which is incredible, and this could all be over quickly if the hostages were returned. But my prayer, and I know I don't want to speak for you, but I know your heart, our prayer would be that the people would be moved, those that are there in Gaza, that they would come to know the Lord through this somehow, some way, something miraculous would be to happen and stir in their lives. And that's really my prayer and my wish. Above and beyond, we love to talk about tourism, but there's much more than just tourism.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about all the time the political situation and how that's back and forth, good people on both sides.
Yep.
But ultimately, the only thing that changes this for the better is Christ.
Yep.
For people to accept Christ in their lives and for Him to change their hearts. And in that is how change happens in the whole world. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And, a lot of times people ask, why do we do what we do? And why are we so excited about when people go on trips with Imagine Tours and so forth? And, we have it in our conference room. We have it on our emails. You probably see it in a lot of different places. If you could see it right now, we actually have it. It says to honor God, to impact lives, and to enrich faith. And we really want to see the scriptures come to life. That's our desire. Whether you're traveling to Israel and the Holy Land, you're going on to Egypt and Jordan, or if you're traveling on the footsteps Apostle Paul in Greece and Turkey and Rome, or whether you're doing the early Christian churches and you're going into Scotland and the UK and in Ireland, if you want to do a Reformation tour and you want to do something in Germany and Austria and Switzerland, things like that. Yeah. So just to give you an idea, but I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, no, that's great. So we also wanted to open this up for questions that you might have for us. So we will continue to just kind of banter, talk back and forth. If you have a question, feel free to type that into the comments. That'll pop into us here. And once we see it, we'll try to get an answer for you. Ultimately, if we're not able to get to the questions, if we have more than what we can get to, then you can send those questions into
sales@ittworld.com. That's sales@ittworld.com. Send us your questions, even after this airs and so forth. Really, we just want to talk about, what our experience was when we were just in Israel, but also to encourage you. We have groups that are leaving as early as in a couple of weeks, going to Egypt and Jordan and continuing on to Israel. And if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we've got Dr. John Delancey, who is going to be our first guy out since everything kind of shut down. And he's got what he's calling the Granddaddy Tour.
It is a Granddaddy Tour.
And it's Biblical Israel Ministries and Tours is the name of his ministry that he has. It's a great trip in March. It departs on March 8th. And I'm actually hoping that I talked to John a little bit last week after we got finished with our video, and he would love to come on after he gets back and share with everyone just how everything went. So excited about that whenever he returns, which is going to be kind of towards the end of March. I think that trip that he's going on is a 17-day trip through Egypt, Jordan, and then Israel. So
very unique trip. It's not like your typical everyday tour for somebody who's really wanting not only a Granddaddy tour, but something unique and special. Also to have a Bible scholar with you, having Dr. John to do that, but to not only visit the places, but one of the things that he's known for is making sure that you connect the dots. And he even has a book out on that as well, that he provides to each one of the travelers that travel with him. We also have study guides that we provide as well for our trips, but connecting the dots is, again, part of why we do what we do. You'll probably hear us say over and over again to see the scriptures come to life. And there's just something about actually being in the places and seeing them firsthand. I think that's, if you're anything like me, I'm a visual, and I love to just be able to see the terrain, to meet the people. You probably heard me say it on the last one that we did. The topography is just so important to me, of just understanding, the terrain and the locations and the distances. Maybe I'm just old school, or I'm an idiot and I just need to see pictures and see things. But I love it because when I get a chance to be there, there's nothing like it. And just to envision yourself, being in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah.
We often say, if you ask a lot of people what's the shortest verse, Jesus wept. And this was the place where, he wept. He also had the chance to say, take this cup away from me. He also had the opportunity of choosing not to take the sins of the world on him. And the reason why I love that place so much is if you're standing there and you look just up over the hill right behind you, and it may be 400 or 500 yards, you just go over the hill itself and you're right there in the desert. And you get an opportunity to see that he could have just been in the wilderness and left. He didn't have to wait for them to come get him.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that excite me.
Yeah. So these trips are amazing just in themselves, but their ability to light a fire in discipleship, right?
That's fine.
Is pretty amazing. So discipleship, a couple of things, right? Sharing of the gospel. Discipleship doesn't happen without that happening. And then the sanctification journey that we're on, that discipleship walk that we have whether it be with our pastors, whether it be with fellowship with brothers and sisters in Christ. This is another piece, another tool.
Oh yeah.
How that really just kind of opens up and magnifies that, I think. So looks like we've got a couple of people who've put some comments in. Let's see what we've got here. Thoughts about the Egypt extension. Not sure. That's coming from Terry Pitzer. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. But of course, if you're asking if it's safe to travel to Egypt,
we actually just had a group that returned this last Thursday, last week. So we have groups that are going to Egypt. We've had 4 groups just within the last month and a half that have traveled to Egypt. So you can easily do Egypt, not just Cairo or St. Catherine's, but you can continue on to Luxor. And then if you want, you can fly down to Abu Simbel and Aswan, and you can pick up the cruise. We do all of that. And visit our website if you want to learn more. But Egypt is perfectly safe. I have to tell you, the people in Egypt are amazing. A lot of people always ask, what's it feel like? They're just so caring, and they love tourism as well. I've been traveling to Egypt for over 30 years, and I've never once felt unsafe whatsoever. Jordan is very much the same. And we talk about these countries because they're part of the Holy Land. It's, if you're in Jordan, it's where Moses was as well, not just a little bit of time for Jesus.
Yeah.
In Egypt, but in doing so, there's so much history in that regard.
Yeah. I thought what was cool about those photos that come back as well, because you shared them. There were 13, 14 ladies on a trip, one guy, all traveling over there, just having a great time experiencing what God had to offer in Egypt for them. So that was amazing.
And the trip that we just took to Israel, and a lot of people asked, did you truly feel safe, or was there concerns or anything like that? We didn't feel, at least I can speak for myself, not once did I feel unsafe or in harm's way. To the contrary, I think I felt safer on this trip than I have even on prior trips. And security is at an all-time high. We used to always say when things are quiet for a long time period, it means somebody is planning something. So, this is literally, when I tell you, the best time to travel. It truly is. In addition to that, one of the things that people asked as well was, you don't have any crowds. So, if you choose to travel in the next 3 months or 6 months, the crowds are not going to be there.
Yeah.
There'll be groups, and you'll see lots of different groups, but you won't have any delays, no waits, nothing like that. And that's a great benefit. We had a lot of groups right after COVID that started. We actually had the very first group that landed from North America right after COVID, the day Israel reopened. And the biggest thing that they said was they had the place to themselves. They didn't have to fight any crowds. They had as much time as they wanted, excuse me, and they were able to get in additional sites because they had more time. There was no traffic. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty unbelievable I've never been to the Church of Nativity and not been, just kind of jostled back and forth. We spent 15 minutes down in the grotto, which that
Never happens.
happened. So yeah, if you want to go and see that and be a part of the kind of the quiet right now, I think that would be a great idea. So Virginia Hill is a question for you, Rick.
What is the question?
Hey, Rick, do you guys go to Galilee while y'all were there? Did we go to the Galilee while we were there? What was it like there currently?
I can tell you we did not go to the Galilee, and not because of safety concerns. It was more of time constraints. Actually, all of the biblical sites around the Galilee, excuse me, in particular to the lake, right around the Sea of Galilee itself, all of those sites are open. The only restrictions we have today, and this could change tomorrow, is in the north. I apologize, I've got a tickle in my throat. Just the areas up in the north that border Lebanon. Those are the areas that they're actually keeping people away from at this time, even though it's been a little bit quieter. And we know that literally today, they're meeting in Egypt and discussing the possibility of a permanent ceasefire. So it may take a couple of weeks in order for them to finalize it, but it looks like they're trying to find a way to restore peace there in the north with Lebanon and Hezbollah. And I know that Egypt, as well as the president from France, is there in the meetings as well. So they're trying to find a way of doing that. So this is very important. Again, we talk about prayer. Please pray for the peace. But the sites themselves all around are open. The only change that I've heard from some of the guides, as well as some of the owners of the hotels, are some of the biblical sites at this time, because there's not as much tourism. The hours of operation have changed a little bit. So if they opened at 8 o'clock in the morning, they may be opening at 9 or 10 o'clock. And instead of closing at 4, they may be closing at 2:30 or 3. But that's the only change that's there. So you can pretty much do 90% of all of the sites around the Galilee.
Yeah, the only sites that we knew that were affected were going to be Tel Dan and Caesarea Philippi,
Yep.
up in the Golan Heights area. So, but other than that, everything you could still see.
Correct.
But say
Great question.
Capernaum, all of those sites were still good to go. Let's see. Have commercial airlines resumed flights into Israel?
The majority of them have. Some of them are starting up literally in a matter of 2 weeks. Some of them are starting March 1. The Star Alliance has started back. I know that United is part of the Star Alliance, and they're also starting March. In regards to that, I know that Delta is also planning on coming back as well, and American Airlines. So there are flights that are there. LL has been flying with Delta and co-chair flights 5 days a week. I know that they're not flying on Shabbat, but most carriers are flying. And you'll see as tourism continues, it goes back, all of the airlines will return. But yes, they are flying again.
Yeah, great question. Ron Knappenberger, good friend. We're looking forward to, let's see what he says there. We're looking forward to the Footsteps of Paul tour to Greece and Rome in June. We don't foresee any travel issues for that tour, correct? No.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. So
yeah, Greece and Italy and even Turkey, honestly, totally, you can visit right now. There's no issues whatsoever. We have groups that are going to be in Greece as early as 2 weeks from now. So you'll start to see all of that pick up and so forth. But yeah, Greece and Italy are normal. Turkey as well, no issues whatsoever.
great question, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, we had a comment there from, scroll down just a little bit. There you go. Just from Deanna. Reiner looks like. We went to the Holy Land tour with Imagine Tours December 2023. Thank you for traveling back then. Remarkable tour company and attention to every detail on our safety was paramount. I think that's one thing that we definitely want to emphasize here is that there never is a time that we don't take that into account whenever we're traveling.
Well, let me just say a few words on that. I know you hear is safety important. Of course, it's important. We wouldn't send you anywhere knowingly or having any idea if we didn't feel that we could guarantee your safety. We do get sometimes people are, how can you guarantee my safety? I don't think anybody can guarantee your safety 100%. Honestly, I can't guarantee your safety driving to the airport. But I can tell you that we take every precaution possible, not only from the U.S. State Department, from the Israel government as well as all of our contacts in Israel. We constantly are in contact. I mean, I spoke with our offices in Israel even this morning. I text with them on my email, at WhatsApp, at least 2, 3, 4 times a day. If there was any indication at all whatsoever, we would be the first person to tell you, please don't travel. We have not had that happen, and we don't foresee that happening. Honestly, right now, this is probably the safest time to travel. And one of the things that I said on our last time, sometimes you'll have people who will tell you not to travel there. They're concerned about your safety and they love you and they care about you, and no question about it. They want your safety. But the one question I always ask is, when was the last time that they were in Israel? I've yet to ever meet anybody who's been to Israel who has told somebody not to travel to Israel. And even though Israel has, some of the more demanding neighbors on their borders, their cities are some of the safest cities in the world. And, we take things for granted because we have some of the safest borders, surprisingly. Yet here in the U.S., some of our cities are by far, as you know, there's some places you just don't go after dark or even during the day when it's light. And we do the same thing with Israel. Safety is paramount. So,
yeah, it's interesting. We even have had a conversation with one of our guides whose his wife actually refused up until just recently to travel to the United States because she was fearful of coming to the United States.
Yep.
So if you can kind of put that into
unbelievable.
Yeah. So, but let's see. How do we have? Let's see. An insurance. It's probably a question about insurance, Rick.
Sure.
It just says, are insurance providers still offering to cover these trips?
They are.
Warfare.
They are indeed, actually. Keep in mind that most of the insurance companies haven't changed their policy for coverage. What their policy is, and this is the part that people don't always understand, is depending on the coverage of what you're trying to purchase. And I think that's where the misnomer is, or people don't understand, is you still have medical coverage, you still have trip delay, you still have trip interruption, you have baggage and so forth. I think the question is, will they still provide evacuation if you purchase insurance? And there's policies that you can do that, so that's not a problem at all. We're not taking you into any of the areas that is the war zone. And, we have people that will ask, what's it going to be like for you and I to get into Gaza today? Would almost take a small miracle. Okay, we don't take you anywhere near Gaza. You're not going to drive anywhere near there. You have nothing to worry about in that regard. So the closest area that we go to that's even near Gaza would be the Valley of Elah, where David and Goliath actually took place. And that is still quite a distance away. And that's the closest that we get to in regards to Gaza. Gaza is isolated, it's contained, and it's what people don't quite understand is the size of Gaza is the size of Tampa, Florida. It's very small in comparison, and it's isolated. It would be like saying, you're going to visit Florida, but you're not going to Tampa. And there's so many places that you can see still in Florida without any issues or concerns. And the same holds true with Israel. You can do Tel Aviv, you can do Jaffa, you can continue into Jerusalem, you can continue to the Galilee, you can make yourself go up further north if you want, even up to Akko and some of the other areas. You go to the Dead Sea, you can go down to the Raymond Crater, you can go down to Eilat. There's lots of areas that you could still visit without any questions whatsoever. If you didn't turn on the news or read something, you wouldn't even know that something was happening, with the exception of talking to people.
Yeah. I know the people have asked, what happens if my trip gets shut down, I can't travel. Of course, canceling a trip is never someone's only option. Those are an option to cancel, but traveling to Israel is not your only option. You can still travel too. We would always attempt to find a solution for you to still be able to travel.
Always. You always have options. And I think that's again, maybe biggest misnomer or in regards to the fact of you always have options. We're not going to force anybody to travel to some place they don't feel safe. If you choose not to, you can reschedule, you can postpone, you can choose a different destination. We're fortunate that we have lots and lots of groups and tours that are traveling throughout Europe, even to the groups that didn't go to Israel this last month, but instead were in Egypt and Jordan, and they had wonderful trips. So you have lots of options. Again, we're not here to send you someplace, and we get calls and we get emails and people ask, truly, is it safe? It's safe. We just got back from Israel and it was safe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm returning again the first week of April with a group of pastors on a inspection / solidarity / familiarization, just so people can experience it firsthand. For any of the pastors that may be watching this, we still have a few spots remaining. So if you're interested in joining us, come with me to Israel this April 1st. We'd love to have you go. It's April 1 through 9. And just send an email to sales@ittworld.com, and we'll send you a PDF brochure. For pastors, it's $6.95 for the land portion, and I believe for their spouses, it's $9.95. And that does not include airfare. We can help you with airfare if you need it. It's an introductory just for pastors and their spouses to come and see Israel firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a trip that's planned or you have concerns and you want to see it first before you return with your group, come with us. If I thought it was unsafe, do you really believe that I'd be going and returning again? So come join us, see it firsthand. And if you want my personal opinion, do some live like we're doing right now. You can do that while we're there in Israel. So you can do live video, you can do live feed from your iPhones or Androids or anything like that, and talk to your congregation, say I'm right here, and we'll be at the Sea of Galilee. We'll be at the Garden of Gethsemane. We'll be at the Garden Tomb. We'll be at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Yeah. We're going to do everything. Yeah. So come with us. We're excited about it.
Yeah, great. A couple of things. Vicki Schurer, who is a tour host that's traveled with us quite a bit. She's just asked the question. She's supposed to have an archaeological dig in the Valley of Elah, so is that off limits?
Nope, it's actually open right now, surprisingly. And again, it's probably one of the safest times because everything is isolated. I mean, the security is the best it's ever been. So Israel has, unfortunately had to take this very serious. But security, they've taken every measure possible. So you can do the Valley of Elah right now.
Yeah. I know there were we've got a couple of tour hosts, Brandon Snipe had put on there that he's excited about traveling. There we go. Love the lot. Thanks, Brandon. We know that's a big compliment coming from you. Can't wait to go to Israel twice this year. So he's heading over here, I think in March.
Next month, a couple of weeks.
So
he and Vanessa will be there.
Yeah. And
they're doing just that. They're going to be live streaming and seeing the sites firsthand. It's a perfect example of what we were just talking about, wanting to go in and see it firsthand, sharing and doing so. And Brandon and Vanessa do an amazing job.
Yeah.
Snipe Life. Check them out.
Yeah, check them out on YouTube. So, and then Eric Gerbard, he wants you to talk a little bit more about Spain and Portugal.
Oh, we got a river cruise. It's actually more Portugal than Spain. We only have, I believe, 1 or 2 days that's in Spain. The rest of the river cruise is actually in Portugal, and we'll start in Lisbon, and it's a 7-night cruise. It's phenomenal. It's this September of this year, so I am actually leading it with my beautiful wife, and we will be going, and we have about 25 spots available for our closest and dearest friends, all of those that are watching now. So come and check it out. Visit it on our website as well. You can go to ittworld.com, and there's river cruises, and you can see that. So it's wonderful.
So it's a good question, Eric with a K. You need to get signed up for that trip. So
Yeah, we need an interpreter too. So Eric, I hope you'll come and join us.
he's already signed up.
Okay.
Yeah, great time of spend some time with you guys. I know Rick's got to take off and head out here, so we will try to get back to you. Any questions that continue to come through comments, we'll get back and answer some of those for you. Rick and I are actually taking off this week for Switzerland, France, and Germany for a Reformation tour.
Yes.
We'll get some more details out about that after we get back.
Yes, so please keep us in your prayers for that.
Yep, maybe we'll try to shoot you some videos from over there. So
that'd be great.
But thanks for coming and being a part. We appreciate each and every one of you.
We do.
Look forward to you getting back to Israel, to Greece, to Germany, doing all those things that are important in discipleship. So thank you so much. God bless and take care.
And if I could add one more thing, if you have any questions whatsoever, please email us at sales@ittworld.com, sales@ittworld.com. Any questions that you have, we will be more than happy. We do take them very serious. If it's a concern of yours, let us know, and we will be sure to answer your questions within a timely manner. And thank you all for taking the time to watch us.
Yep.